Clemson Health Extension has done a lot for the community of Marion. I mean, if we think about everything that's been done, Clemson has asked me to sit on the advisory council for the Marion County Clemson Extension, and I go. And when I go to those meetings, I'm able to meet farmers. I'm able to, to share ideas and gather ideas that will be beneficial to our community. I met a gentleman, I'm waiting right now because we're in the process. Hopefully we will be soon setting up a Black Farmer Co-op. Because of Weatherly, we have our first Marion County Food Policy Council that we're forming. It's going to take about 18 months to completely form it. We've had our first meeting, but because of Weatherly, she put us in touch with people who will fund it. So we have a part-time resource. We get $20,000 in funding every year so that we can do that. Because of Clemson Extension and because of us moving forward with the Marion County Food Policy Council, we created our first community garden. Weatherly, she not only did she help us design it, she built the boxes by hand and the food cart that we now have weekly community food shares. So with our weekly community food shares, we take food out the garden, we take food from farmers that donate it, we take food from people that have excess food in their garden, and we share it with the community. And to date, in the first few, we didn't share, we didn't keep track of the data. But after about 2 or 3, we started to keep track of the data. And since the fall, the spring harvest, which was about April, May, was it? We have served 369 families representing 873 people with free vegetables on Fridays. We had a couple community surveys that were done by Clemson Extension. And the first community survey that was done, when Sam gave us our readout, I had me and I had 2 other people from my team on the call, and we was in tears. We was in tears to hear about people who have to sacrifice food, who have to make decisions between food and medical treatment, who sometimes have to skip meals, all these things, right? It was like, it just kind of made it seem like, okay, well, we're doing the right thing because the community needs it, because people answer these questions in the privacy of the person giving the survey and the person asking the questions, so you take it to heart. And so then Sam and his crew, they came back out about a month ago, maybe a little bit over a month ago, into the garden, and they did a survey. And he pulls me to the side and he says, Miko, he says, this is already a tremendous improvement. He said, I have to gather the data, I gotta look at the numbers, but it's a tremendous improvement. And I said, why do you say that? And he said, because when we did the survey the first time and we asked people if they knew where a community garden was, they all said no. He said, now they all are saying yes. And they're out here at the community garden getting food. He said, this is data. He said, you should be proud of it. And I am. I'm so glad that he dropped that nugget on us, something for us to think about. But, I'm just so proud that he did that, and he left that with us. And then if you just think about the folks that are food insecure, not including the farmers market, right? Just folks that are food insecure, where we have provided food from Harvest Hope, or sometimes we get small donations from like USDA. We have served 5,727 families representing 13,772 people. And there's only there's 28,000 in our whole county. So the numbers I'm giving you, they do reflect repeat people who come to us all the time. We have a text database right now. Anytime we have any events, we text 1,300 people to let them know what we're doing and what's going on. But Weatherly also said to me, she says, Miko, you should be on the South Carolina Food Policy Council. I said, who, me? This geek? You do know my background is technology, business intelligence. You want me to be on the South Carolina Food Policy Council, on the board of directors? And she says, yep, I think that's what you should do. And I was like, okay, if it's going to be better for my community, if it's going to bring something up for my community, then I'm going to do it. And I get on this Food Policy Council and I look at my peers and it's, it's the head of Holzfire. It's the head of the South Carolina Agricultural Department. It's like all of these people that are doing such, such great things with food. And it's such a pleasure for me being in Marion County, rural community. I'm the only one down here, I'm the only one down here in the PD. So to have those opportunities, and really, truthfully, and honestly, the only way we would have these opportunities is because of Clemson Extension. And, and I, another quick sidebar, and then we could pick like which one, because I can't even think of it. So we had, I saw Clemson Extension had a Master Gardening program. And because I am, I got this garden, there's one more big one. I got this garden, I was like, okay, let me sign up. But it is very competitive. It's hard to get in. And so I was like, Weatherly, can you help me? She said, you're not gonna have any problem. You're gonna get it. She always says that, right? She's so optimistic. I'm like, I don't know. So I went, I passed the test. I still have to do my volunteer hours, but I'm this close from being a certified Clemson Extension Master Gardener. And it has been amazing. It has been amazing. I met Iris over there. She does the health. So it's just like, I'm a Clemson Extension fan. Last but not least, Weatherly says you need to apply for the USDA garden grant. And you cut this, because I'm gonna say some stuff. You cut this, but when it comes to the USDA or really even federal agencies, their grant process is so challenging. And then little organizations like Pick 42 Foundation, we're a nonprofit. We don't have millions of dollars. We work very hard to work in our community. I find that I apply for these federal grants and then they go to the $1 million people. They go to the hospitals and things like that. So I just don't even apply. So she's like, you need to apply. I said, okay, yeah, I'll apply. But really in my heart, I'm like, I ain't applying. I'm not gonna apply. Weatherly stayed on me until I applied. And I applied. She helped me, point me to the direction of somebody that would help me. They actually took my existing budget, my existing program brief, and helped me transform that into the grant that I needed in order to apply for the USDA garden grant. Well, long story short, I got it. We have now received a 3-year grant for $147,000 a year to expand our gardens from 1 to 5. So we're going to be building 4 new gardens, except for this time, everything is fully funded. Soil, boxes, everything. We need Clemson Extension to help us design it and lay it out and things like that. But everything is fully funded and it's amazing. So if I had to think on the one thing, the one thing that Clemson Extension has done, it's so much. The one thing I want to say is the guidance. It's the guidance, because we see things happen in our communities, but we don't know the cause or effect, And I think that Clemson Extension stepping in and saying, okay, well, let's do this survey. Let's provide incentives so that people can, because people want to talk, right? But time is valuable. So to hear that Clemson Extension appreciates the time of people who live in my community enough to offer them a $15 gift certificate or a $25 gift certificate, so that we can then in turn get the data that we need to do the things that we need to do, I think that's invaluable. Everything else is also amazing, but if I had to pick one, this Data Geek would pick that. That's no doubt. That's no doubt, because, Weatherly has literally been there for us. She's always a phone call away. She's always a text away. I can ask her for advice, and then she does stuff like building whole farmer market carts and even though pieces of it have been stolen by the community, but she's always right there. Like, okay, well, this is what we'll do. Okay, well, I'll order another one of these, or 4 pallets of soil. It's like those things are just, we couldn't do it without her. We literally would not have any gardens if it wasn't for Weatherly. We would not have the community food share if it wasn't for Clemson Extension. We would not have provided groceries for, what was it, 13,772 people to date if it wasn't for Clemson Extension helping us get connected with USC so that we can have a staff member who could coordinate all of that. Do we have all the funding we need? No. I need so much more, and there's so much more to do. And, matter of fact, that USC grant just ran out of money. So, it's like we need more, but I am so grateful for everything that Clemson Extension has done for the community of Marion. Some of the things I may have said may came off as challenges, but it really wasn't, because we're in the process. I would definitely say the biggest challenge is resources, is funding, right? There's so much that we want to do, but we find ourselves, working with limited budgets all the time. The people who are staff members, and I'm like, okay, this week you can't work but 10 hours this week, because that's all that's left on that grant. We got to make sure, but the thing is the tagline of Pick 42 Foundation is neighbors helping neighbors. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. We have a limited number of staff that we pay part-time, but that was before the garden grant. Now we got a full-time garden manager. We got a full-time garden manager. We got another part-time program coordinator, and 4 students who will make $10 an hour for 10 hours a week to work in the gardens. But park that to the side. They are all challenges, right? And everything that we do, me, the volunteers, our board of directors, our employees, we don't look at it as challenges. We always look at it as opportunities, and that we're excited to be part of being able to do our smart part to help our county deal with food insecurity. And in terms of the challenge, I would say, is really just keeping enough resources for the foundation so that we can keep doing what we do. Honestly, that's what it is. I frequently refer people, because I have a Facebook group called Garden with Friends Grow, and that group has people from all over the state and all over the country that are in that group. And sometimes people ask for questions. They're like, well, how do I got this problem with the soil, or, I got this bug that's doing this. I'm always like, well, you know what? Contact your extension office. If you're South Carolina, contact your local Clemson Extension office. Contact your master gardener. I just think that, or the health, I've referred Iris to several of the daycare centers, people that do after school programs. And, because she has said that Clemson Extension will teach and bring like other healthy resources to the table. So I'm a proponent, and I think that, and the services are free. And that, how do you not take advantage of it for your community? And the thing is too, with Clemson Extension, they tell you things that you didn't realize was an issue or that you needed. But then once you get into it, then you kind of see, wow, okay, thank you so much for bringing this to my community. I would be remiss if I talked about Weatherly a lot, but I would be remiss if I just didn't take a little bit more time to seriously tell you guys how much a gem she is, how much she cares about people she doesn't even know. I'm sorry, you got me thinking about Weatherly, but she is so important. She is so great. I shudder the thought that she would ever leave Clemson Extension. So if there's anything you all need to do to make sure that she stays there and she's a happy employee for the rest of her career, I beg you to do that, because she is an angel and she cares so much and we need her. And that's all I have to say. She's just so amazing.